In today's brief insight of current affairs, I'll be discussing proposed electoral reforms and then critically analyzing that whether it is an effective tool to ensure transparency and fairness within the election system of Pakistan. The current government is intending to introduce a major electoral reforms within Pakistan with aim of ensuring transparency and fairness across the board and providing level playing field for all the democratic parties within Pakistan. The government is intending to amend more than 40 articles of the Election Act 2017 and tailor it towards being more fair and transparent, and we'll be analyzing if it's actually transparent and whether it is actually providing fairness within the election system. The first major reform which the government is planning is to amend Section 103 of the Election Act 2017 and introduce the concept of electronic voting machine, which is known as EVM. Through EVM, they are planning to ensure that all the votes are cast within Pakistan through these electronic voting machines. And this system is being developed by the Ministry of Science and Technology alongside ComStats University. And as per the Information Ministry of Pakistan, this is the biggest milestone which Pakistan will achieve in its electoral history. And as per them, this will ensure fairness and level playing field for all the political parties. Furthermore, as per the statement of the Prime Minister's office, successful trials have been conducted on the electronic voting machines, and as per the office, the results are truly amazing. But we need to analyze the point here that whether actually the electronic voting machine is right for Pakistan at this time. We need to consider that most of Pakistan's population reside in rural areas where internet connectivity is very poor, where electricity coverage is very poor, especially in rural Sindh and Balochistan. And we need to see that electronic voting machines are highly reliant on internet and power. And if these two things are missing in rural areas, then how it is possible to conduct the entire election for entire Pakistan using electronic voting machine? And if it's not unanimous, then we'll be hearing the hues and cries of the political parties that they're not applying the same system across Pakistan. And we need to understand this point as well. The second point is that digital literacy rate in Pakistan is lowest in South Asia, which means that people do not know much about the latest technology in rural areas, which means that it can be prone to misuse. Let's suppose that if a person hands over his CNIC copy to an electronic polling agent, there's a chance that it will be misused because the person handing over doesn't have much knowledge about electronic and new technology. Hence, this can be a downside of the electronic voting machine. Coming down to the second proposed reform, which is amending Section 94 of the Election Act 2017 and allowing internet voting for overseas Pakistanis. On the face of it, overseas Pakistanis have contributed a lot towards the economy of Pakistan, especially during COVID times. Because we have seen that they have been the savior by sending remittances to Pakistan, and due to which Pakistan's economy has remained stable. But we need to critically analyze and see that as per some critics, overseas Pakistanis do not have as much as high stakes as compared to a Pakistani daily wager living in Pakistan. Hence, there is a chance that they will not have that much ground realities as compared to another Pakistani working in Pakistan, and there is a chance that that respective person can misuse his vote due to misinformation. Furthermore, it is not appropriate at the same time to outrightly deny overseas Pakistanis the right to vote. But what the government should do, they can probably make a slots through which they can analyze that which overseas Pakistani deserves the right to vote. Like for example, if someone is staying there for more than 5 years and haven't visited Pakistan within that time, that person cannot have right to vote. On the other hand, another overseas Pakistanis frequently visiting Pakistan, have strong ties, that person can probably have the right to vote because he has stakes in Pakistan more than another person. So in this way, a fairness and a level playing field can be ensured in the election process. Furthermore, it is pertinent to note that the overseas votes will be transmitted through intranet, and Pakistan unfortunately has one of the slowest internet in the region, which means that there will be some problem with the transmission of votes, which will then lead towards litigation and disputes within the political parties with regards to counting of votes. Secondly, the internet system can be prone to hacking, and Pakistan does not have that strong cybersecurity network which can protect Pakistan from hacking, especially due to the electronic voting mechanism. Coming down to the next reform, which is barring Election Commission from registering any political party with less than 10,000 registered voters, which means that any political party that has less than 10,000 registered voters cannot be registered by the ECP, and as a result, they cannot contest elections within Pakistan. This on the face of it seems very undemocratic, because the main crux of a democratic country is that every person has a right to express and to take part in political elections, and this seems to be a dent in that system. However, on the other hand, this seems to be a step by the current government to stop the mushroom growth of political parties within Pakistan, because we have seen that lately every second person is launching his or her political parties, and in fact hundreds of political parties have been registered on the Election Commission's website, and this is in fact bringing the quality of democracy down as per the critics. But the debate still seems open-ended whether it is democratic or undemocratic, but I believe that it is more on the verge of undemocraticness. The next proposed reform is to allow the candidates to challenge the appointment of polling staff during elections. This on the face of it seems very democratic and very fair, because if a candidate is not happy with the polling staff, or he or she thinks that he or she is not fair, then that person will have a legal right to challenge that specific polling staff. However, on the other hand, this seems to be a floodgate, because let's suppose that if a candidate is losing and he or she is not happy, then there's a chance that he will be going for litigation at any cost to delay the election result or to delay the election process. By introducing such measures, this will increase the volume of litigation in courts and litigation within the Election Commission of Pakistan, and will make the election process even slower. Coming down to the last proposed reform, which is linking the voters record and voters list to that of NADRA's database, which means that the electoral list or the voters list won't be made on the census and the previous record, but instead government will be looking to sync that with the NADRA database. This on the face of it seems very mechanical and very fair, but there is a major downside to it, because in Pakistan not everyone is on the NADRA's data list. In fact, the newly merged FATA, there's an estimate that more than 40% of FATA's residents are not part of the NADRA system, which means that if government takes this concrete step, automatically a significant crowd within Pakistan will be excluded from the voters list, and which will basically make the election process unfair compared to the previous system, where the record was more reliant and more synced with the national census. However, this can be a good step, but for this, government needs to ensure that more and more people are registered on a NADRA database, not at this time when a significant chunk of our country is not on the NADRA's database and are not having the national identity cards of Pakistan and are citizens of Pakistan. So this was a brief insight about proposed electoral reforms, as well as whether it is an effective tool to ensure efficiency and fairness. If you have any questions or suggestions, please feel free to inbox me. Thank you very much.